Hello everyone and happy Friday. This week we're bringing you the collection of newly disclosed or updated IFI projects covering the period from 25th of August to 9th of September 2025. As always, there's a lot happening across the development finance landscape, from the usual infrastructure and energy all through digital transformation to agriculture. I'll take you through the highlights, but I also want to pull out some of the bigger trends we've been seeing in recent months. On the IFC investment side, several notable projects were disclosed. In India, the TVS ILNP IT was disclosed as a Category B project linked to infrastructure logistics. Over in Poland, the Avalon 4 private equity fund was listed as an FI2. In Egypt, we saw a major disclosure of the Savagapur project, which is a huge Category A, which means significant environmental and social impacts are expected, most likely adverse, yeah? And regionally in Africa, the ARISE Special Economic Zone was also disclosed as a Category A, showing the scale of IFC's ongoing work in industrial infrastructure. Now, looking at the advisory projects, one of the standouts is in Sri Lanka, the Coconut Kernel Export Development Project. This builds on a pattern we've seen before, where the IFC advisory is steadily moving into agricultural value chains and food security. Earlier this year, we've had multiple agri-related investments across sub-Saharan Africa, and now we see a pivot to Sri Lanka with a focus on expanding exports, strengthening livelihoods, and connecting smallholders to global markets. Some other interesting disclosures include the Local Champions Initiative in Burkina Faso, a peer learning platform on sustainable mining in Guinea, if there's such a thing, and a PPP for hospital services in Timisoara, Romania. On the World Bank side, we're tracking a wide set of pipeline and approved projects. In Iraq, the economic inclusion pilot moved forward in the pipeline. Turkmenistan approved a One Health program linking pandemic prevention with ecosystem and food system resilience. Transport remains a steady theme. For example, the Resilient and Strategic Transport Project in Malawi, while in Cape Verde, the Renewable Energy and Utility Performance Project is in the pipeline. One trend that's worth flagging is the continued integration of climate resilience into public finance and also policy reform. The examples we've seen recently include Comoros, Uganda, Brazil's Amazonas program, which was approved just in late August. At the same time, not every digital initiative is moving forward smoothly. The Digital Nepal project was dropped at board stage, which serves as a reminder that digital infrastructure projects can face governance, financing, or even feasibility barriers that prevent them from advancing. AIIB's pipeline features several large strategic programs. As always, the big ticket items always come from AIIB. Uzbekistan has proposed a Green Resilient Market Economy program with a volume of $500 million. There we go. Azerbaijan's Baku metro expansion also stands out, as does the Pakistan N5 National Highway Reconstruction Project under the country's Resilient Recovery Framework. It's also interesting to see AIIB moving into digital infrastructure with China's Project Forest, focusing on technology. This echoes what we've seen with IADB, more on that shortly, and also shows how digital transformation is becoming a core theme across multiple IFIs. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has been active across energy, manufacturing, and financial institutions. We saw projects in Greece and Moldova, for example, that were under their direct finance facility, as well as the Forvia e-mobility investment, which ties into this clean transport push. Other energy projects included the SPP Bitola 3 plant in North Macedonia and grid reinforcement in Tunisia. On the municipal side, the education and water efficiency projects in Montenegro, Morocco highlight EBRD's more community-focused infrastructure projects. And Ukraine continues to feature with MHP Sunflower Working Capital. That's an agribusiness project. They're moving into the disbursement stage, which shows that agri-food resilience remains a priority even in fragile contexts. The European Investment Bank has been publishing a very diverse portfolio of under-appraisal projects. In Paraguay, a new ANDE master plan in energy was released. Italy saw multiple infrastructure credit line projects, including Verona's water upgrade and Piemonte's EU blending program. Slovakia and Finland both feature with sustainable regional and educational development loans. We're also seeing more emphasis on urban development and housing innovation. For example, the Napoli Sustainable City Framework Loan in Italy and the Affordable Assisted Living and Clinics program in France. Interesting to see how development doesn't always happen in the developing countries. Several developed countries require similar infrastructure investments that we've seen in like Africa or Southeast Asia. Now, the Inter-American Development Bank, where digital transformation technology investments are clearly accelerating. In Panama, the IADB approved a program to boost the semiconductor industry, directly linking competitiveness, management to future-ready technologies. And across the region, we saw the approval of AJ Ventures 3 Climate Investment Fund, which channels capital into the agri-tech for inclusion and sustainability. Some of the other highlights include the cross-border circular economy program, support for intelligent transport systems in Peru, and institutional strengthening projects in Brazil, Colombia, and Chile. In Barbados and Colombia, 2 digital transformation projects were being approved at the end of August. One of them focused on the government service delivery, and the other on the justice sector reform through digital tools. This fits nicely into the broader trend we've been tracking for months, where Latin America and the Caribbean position themselves as sort of like test beds for digital governance, linking modernization of the state with service delivery and transparency, and very often with climate finance or energy efficiency. And just to connect back, this also mirrors AIIB's digital infrastructure program in China, showing how digitization is no longer sector specific, but became truly cross-cutting across the IFIs. And finally, the African Development Bank released a particularly long list of projects this cycle. We're talking energy, transportation, agriculture, from Kenya's last mile connectivity project to Gambia. There are also multiple social sector programs covering education system improvement in Sudan, social protection in Cote d'Ivoire, economic empowerment for women in West Africa through procurement reforms. A notable trend here is that AfDB's continuing to invest in fragile and conflict-affected contexts. We're talking South Sudan, the Central African Republic, the DRC, all featured in governance, social resilience programs. These are high-risk environments, but they reflect mandate to push development where it's most needed. So to step back, what trends are emerging? Number one is the digital transformation that's scaling across the IFIs and regions and sectors, advancing digital governance infrastructure. 2, agriculture and food security are a recurring theme. from IFC's coconut export advisory in Sri Lanka to AfDB's cereal and irrigation projects, the IFIs are keeping food resilience front and center. 3. Energy and infrastructure remain staples across the IFIs. Ports, roads, grids are still the backbone, but now with a much stronger focus on climate and resilience. 4. Fragility and inclusion. Several projects continue to target fragile states or marginalized groups, difficult but necessary area for the development banks. That's all for this week's roundup. Thanks for listening, and as always, you can find a full list of projects in the newsletter on our website. Until next time, have a great weekend.